Hello everybody, it's Sean and welcome back to the railway. In this video we want to work on this section here. If you remember from last video we was working on this tunnel mouth here. So today we're going to work on this section here. But before we do that, let's work on a repair on the layout. And the repair job I'd like to do first is on this bit. A few of my trees have fallen down, but I didn't really have them that well attached to begin with. But as you can see, there was a cocktail stick in there, and I leant over the layout and it kind of snapped. So now I think it's a good time just to really get these trees properly mounted in now, rather than mounted in loose. Should look at this one, they're all a little bit loose, so that's going to be my plan. So now it's just working out the best position. So I think I had this tree round about there, sort of like that. So just want to make a hole to mount the tree in, and then I go over with some glue gun. Don't have to be too fancy with it, so I'm just because all this is all plaster cloth, so I've made a nice hole there. So I'll just test fit the tree without knocking any more trees over. Hole is a bit big, but by the time I put some glue on it with the glue gun, you just hold it there, the glue should dry pretty quick. So I'll just do that now. Now, if you're using a glue gun like me, remember glue guns are hot. You know, if a bit of the glue catches you, it's going to hurt, it's going to sting. So you have to be aware that hot glue from a glue gun is very hot. So you got to keep that in mind. Now hopefully this glue is going to set quickly, because I don't think you want to watch me holding this tree all video. But I think it's setting now. See if I can. Actually, it might hold itself there. Now, all these trees, by the way, I made these trees myself, but I'll do another video showing how I've done that. Right, so World War III is kicking off next door. Right, so just added some hot glue from the glue gun in this one. I'm just going to put that one in there. let that set. And do the same with this one. On that. Right. Well, there was a hole there. Another good tip. Remember where the holes was. Sure it was around there. Let's just try a slight new one. There we go. Okay. I'll do these trees another time, but you get the idea of how to do this bit. So right, we'll go back to doing the landscaping. Right, and now back at this scene. Basically in this video we're gonna do the bulk of the landscaping, with plaster cloth and paper towel. But before we do, let's talk about the glue gun. Now this glue gun I bought from Poundland. I think it was about £2-3 I think. This glue gun. Really nice bit of kit, but like I said, glue guns are hot and they're very dangerous. So if you use one of these, be extremely careful. It's a good bit of kit, but it can easily burn you. So be very, very careful. Now the other thing I'm going to show you is another thing from Poundland. It's the glue sticks that come with it. So it's a pack of 32, and these are £1 each. So it's really good value. And these will go in that glue gun, and these do last me a while, and I could do a lot of big structural landscape by just using these, which is really good. Right, so enough about plugging the glue gun. Let's crack on. So I've already started by filling in gaps with newspaper. I tried leaving gaps in there because this will be all rock, like this bit. So if you can leave some sort of like gaps where you give you a bit of natural variety, then that would help. So basically what I want to do now, I want to finish packing newspaper in these bits, put some newspaper over this bit so it goes like that. And if you remember before, eventually this road will be around here, but if you remember I said that I want to do the landscape first and then build the bridge to the landscape. So reason being is so it's almost like the land come first before the bridge. So you'd have to do stuff with the land to fit the bridge. That's the way I'm thinking. So just to try and add a little bit of realism to the landscape. So what I'm going to do, try and tear up some bits of newspaper. Doesn't have to be too specific. Just try and scrunch them up. I'll also do try and glue some of the bits down as well. So they don't come back up. Like for example, this bit will be gluing there and there. Right, now this is where I could burn my fingers. I'll try not to. But as you can see, it's like that. It fills up the gap. So what I'll do, we'll just do up to there. I'll pause the camera and do the rest off camera. And you start going with the plaster cloth. But you just want to, where there's gaps, you just want to put the newspaper into the gaps. Now normally what I do after this stage, I'd normally paper mache it as well. But the reason why I'm not this time is because I want uneven ground. So I don't want any of this to be like a smooth flat surface. This is all going to be undulations, rocks and stuff like that. You know, a lot of this area is going to have a lot of trees around it as well, sort of thing. So, you know, if you think about the trunks, the roots, it's all going to push the ground up. So hopefully every time I cover this with plaster cloth, it should look quite lumpy. And for this bit at least, that's what we're looking for. Right, so just going to carry on with the newspaper packing. Then I'll start again when I'm ready to plaster cloth. Right, I've now finished packing the landscape with some newspaper. Now the next thing we need to do is to cover with plaster cloth. Now there is lots of different places that do plaster cloth. I get all my plaster cloth off of Amazon, and you don't need the most expensive plaster cloth. I mean, they're virtually all the same. There's no point in buying like really expensive brands. Yeah, I literally get big bags like this, and there's like small packets like this. And I can't quite remember how much I paid for it, but I did have change out 30 quid. And this bag was full up. And with that bag I managed to do all that bit and that bit. So as you see, it does go a long way. So what I've done was I cut the plaster cloth into strips. So I've got my plaster cloth, I've got my water, so we are all ready to go. So what I do, move some stuff about a bit. So I start on this bit first. I'll probably do this side and then go from there. Okay, so I'll dip your plaster cloth in the water. You just want to place it on. So I'm after a bit of a rough texture. So I'm not particularly worried about smoothness. Just wants to look quite lumpy, quite rocky. That's what I'm aiming for here. I do like to layer it over as well, rather than just one layer. I find if you don't layer it over, it don't quite stick that well. Next door is dog barking. No much luck on the noise front this evening. Right, so literally all I'm doing is just layering it on, and then hopefully it shouldn't take too long to dry rock hard. Now in my case, you've got to remember is I can't get these too wet, because if I get these too wet, there's paper underneath, so just moisten the paper. So I'm trying not to get it too wet. Now at this stage, because this is going to be the river, at this stage is a good point to do stuff that will basically seal the river. I'm not going to put any realistic water in this river, I'll probably just varnish. But in case I have a change of mind, I need this to be completely sealed. So just like that. Begin to see the landscape taking shape. Now I am building close to the edge on this side, but I'm not sure why I'm doing that side, but this nothing wrong with just building up to that side and then blending in. You can always get as far as you can get with it, and then when you do the next bit you can always just blend it in. So you just want it a bit lumpy bumpy there. There's going to be a lot of just like trees and foliage just covering up this bit. I'm also going to put plaster cloth on what will be the riverbed as well. So it'll create a good seal. If you're using products like the Woodland Scenics Realistic Water, I've learned from experience, if you just put a thin layer of varnish, so basically do all this first with the plaster cloth covering the riverbed and sealing it up, but if you put a layer of varnish as well and allow that to dry, you'll be given where you're putting the realistic water that little bit more sealant. So I learned from experience when I done the first river, and I was underneath the baseboards with pots and pans collecting all the water resin that was running out the bottom. When the resin is being poured, it behaves exactly like water. If there's a way it can leak, it will leak. And I found that out, and I was like under the baseboard with pots and pans, panicking. But it's all learning curve. It's all part of the hobby. The hobby is always learning. Not just about the building, it's about the learning as well. So you do these things, you make mistakes, don't worry. It's all learning. You learn from your mistakes. As you can see, it's really starting to take shape now, which is good. What I'm going to do when it comes to rock faces, I'll add to this anyway, but you want to try and make gaps and patterns and stuff like that in the rock to look a bit like erosion. And cut plaster cloth in small strips like this it's a lot easier to do that. You just want just want to tuck the plaster cloth into little gaps. Right, I'm just going to leave it there for now and pause the video. I'll do the rest of this and now I'll get back to you. I've now covered the area in plaster cloth, including the river, so you see where the riverbed is going through there. Now this bit is still going to need a bit of work, but I'll do that off the camera, you know, at the end of the video. But so this video don't go on too much longer. It's starting to become a bit of a long video. What I'm going to do now is just show you a small trick that I have to add in some detail, rock detail to this using just plaster cloth. So what I'm going to do is I'll zoom in on this bit. Yeah, I think you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Right, so what I'm doing is cutting smaller pieces of plaster cloth so I was using rectangle pieces. Now I want to use square pieces for this bit. So you want them that sort of size. You want to get them wet like that. Then what you want to do, just want to kind of scrunch them up slightly, and then on the layout itself you kind of just want to tease it on a bit. It does give a nice rock effect, so don't know if you see it on camera, but it's just, see this bit there, it's almost like a bit of a ridge. So I want to build up this area here like that. So again, dip the plaster cloth in, get a bit of a scrunch up. You can kind of see what I'm going for. Scrunch it up again. It gives a nice bit of a rock pattern. Now you don't want to prod it too much. You just want to scrunch it up, get on there, get it into a rough shape, and then just maybe pal it down a bit. But you don't want to pal it down too much because you end up taking plaster off of it. You know, you want to keep the plaster off of it and keep this, you know, stop this webbing from showing when you do this. So just dip it in the water, scrunch up, then place on the layout. No fuss. Now this will use up a lot of plaster cloth doing it this way. That's why I only buys the cheap. I go for more quantity than quality because they are roughly the same. They roughly do the same thing. So if I can get a load for a cheaper price, that'll be the one I'll be going for, because I do use a lot of plaster cloth while doing this. You can really see the effect that is given. Makes a nice rock effect. Yeah, where that tunnel mouth is on my first baseboard of the layout, this is exactly how I done all the rock and mounting there. Done it in the same way. You could also use sculpture mould as well. Sculpture mould is a good product to use, which have used along this bit. But it seemed to take forever to dry. It took a long time to dry. So I like to do it this way because it is almost instant. I'll just do these last bits because I'm running out of plaster cloth for this roll. I think the video's been going on for quite a while. Right, so it's just like just creating a bit of a rock texture. You just want to crunch it in. And build up that texture, build up that pattern. Right, so this is the last bit of plaster cloth for now. Okay, right. I'll leave it here for now. I'll do the rest off camera. But if I can zoom the camera in, you see with what I was doing there, just creates a nice rock pattern. So by the time I've painted that should look really nice. So now I've got to do that to all that bit there. or the riverbed. So probably off camera I'll do another layer of plaster cloth on this bit, because you want to try and get rid of all the gaps. And try and squash that bit down a bit more. That should be fine, because all this will be all painted with a brown undercoat, burnt umber undercoat, and with all these gaps, you know, it's going to show through the undercoat, so I want to try and get rid of as many gaps as possible. And then after that it'll be ground cover. I mean, you won't see a lot of this once the ground cover's on, so it should be okay. So right, for now I'll leave the video there, but in the next video I've got all these scatter materials that I can use on this bit, as well as painting. So all this will have to be painted. There'll probably be about 3 videos in, you know, doing this bit for the different stages. But if you liked the video and found the video helpful, if you could stick a thumbs up, maybe put a comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you could subscribe, it'd be much appreciated. You know, it'll really support me, and it'll most importantly support the channel. So until next time, yeah, see you later. You take care. Have a good day. Bye bye. Oh, and thank you for watching as well. Okay, thank you. Bye.